We mistake the urge to shut out the world for a show of strength. When we throw up walls and reject what we don't understand, it feels like we are projecting power, when in reality, we are just hiding. Culturally, we are taught to view hate as an attack. We imagine it as a spear pointed outward, a deliberate and highly aggressive choice to judge and condemn anything unfamiliar to us. There is an undeniable, intoxicating rush to this behavior. Passing summary judgments on media, a foreign culture, or a stranger online requires zero justification. You slam the metaphorical gavel down, declare yourself superior, and walk away clean. But that rush is a biological trick. Rejecting the unknown is the path of least resistance. It exploits our oldest survival instincts, allowing us to choose the safety of a stagnant worldview over the friction of dealing with complex people. Hate is never an expression of true power. It is a psychological shortcut. It lets us maintain the illusion of control without ever doing the hard, necessary work of examining our own assumptions. To see how this works mechanically, we look at the hindbrain, the ancient engine of self-preservation, fear, and reactive instinct. When encountering something unfamiliar, it flags a threat. Hate is the resulting defensive reflex, instructing you to build a wall. The writer Elie Wiesel observed that the opposite of love is not hate, but indifference. To be indifferent is to simply see the unknown, decide it is fine for someone else, and just keep walking. Hate cannot do that at all. It requires an active catalyst and a perceived constant threat to keep those walls standing. So while it feels like you are building a fortress to keep yourself safe, you are actually constructing a prison that guarantees you will remain isolated. Redefining love requires us to first strip away the romantic imagery and the passive, fluffy connotations associated with the word. Biologically, we move away from the reactive hindbrain toward the complex network of the frontal lobe, shifting from pure reaction to deliberate curiosity. Deliberately drop your shield. Instead of rejecting the unknown, actively engage with unfamiliar perspectives, allowing them to affect you. This makes love a rigorous intellectual exercise. Hate is a sentence, a quick condemnation that ends the conversation. Love is an essay. It requires you to articulate why you care and to map out your connection to the world around you. Because of this effort, love carries an inherent risk. Flicking life's wildcards leaves you exposed to rejection, psychological harm, and sometimes physical danger. It feels like a vulnerability because you are operating without armor. But enduring the world's friction completely unshielded requires far more courage than hiding behind a wall. The moment you step out from behind the safety of those walls, you see exactly what the world is. You are immediately exposed to the unflinching cruelty, poverty, and systemic injustice that people endure every single day. This creates a specific cognitive dissonance. You see the sheer volume of unnecessary suffering, and you want it to stop. But because you refuse to retreat into the blind prejudice of hate, you cannot simply look away. This tension produces a final emotional state, anger. While hate is reactive and rooted in prejudice, anger acts as an offensive drive to change the conditions causing the stress. The functional difference is the direction of the energy. Hate builds walls out of cowardice and prejudice. Anger deliberately tears down walls out of a desire for justice. True anger is born directly from love and the absolute refusal to accept the suffering of others. It is the fuel for the fight to protect the things and people we have chosen to care about. From the outside, the volume and aggression can be mistaken for hate. The internal architecture tells a different story. The energy is directed at dismantling barriers rather than constructing them. It is love drawing its sword. It is the courage to stand completely vulnerable, look at the suffering of the world, and aggressively demand meaningful change. A functioning society cannot survive on the easy, creeping default of prejudice. To fix our reality, we have to permanently reject the cheap comfort of hate and take on the difficult work of caring. Anger is the necessary, weaponized form of love required to fight systemic injustice. It is the only way to actively engineer a better future.